Hello everyone and welcome back to the new files. And as you can see on screen right now, it is currently typing out what I have. And that is because the first 30 minutes of my recording ended up glitching and I couldn't use that footage. So this is the best I got. I ended up rolling Pixies, as you can see. They like the undead but dislike Dragonborn. And this comment is specifically asked for the creature of this choice to be riding giant spiders such as cavalry, so I ended up incorporating that in some way. Pixies, if you watched the previous episode, are also friends with the harpies, so that also had to be incorporated. As you can see right now, I made a bunch of bullet points to help break this down, and this was just me trying to get a general idea of how the story will go before starting the small paragraph of lore. So as you can probably see, I'm making as many connections as I can, such as the Pixies being necromancy. This is their connection to the undead, while their connection to Dragonborns is their mischievous creatures, and Dragonborns are known to be stoic and brave. So being scared of a bunch of little spiders isn't something typical for a Dragonborn. So that's how I ended up incorporating that whole relationship together. And as you can see in the big paragraph, is what exactly all the pixies and whatnot are bickering about. How some pixies really get along, how the big ones ride giant spiders while the small ones ride normal spiders. How many prefer their undead minions using their necromancy to bring their spiders back to life and use them as undead, because as you can see on screen, undead spiders look terrifying, and I'd be much more scared of an undead spider coming at me than a live spider. And then the rest is a bunch of fluff and air quotes really of just their relationship with one another. So let's get to that. And we are back, and as you can see, I do indeed have a small paragraph for us about pixie lore, and I will go ahead and read it for you, but if you want to pause and read it yourself, you may. The pixies are a small and seemingly helpful creature, but their desire to cause chaos and mischief is much greater than their desire to help. This is evident by their mount of choice, the spider. They ride them as horses and have selectively bred some of the deadliest spiders known to whatever this world is called. The bigger fairies, mostly the ones part of some new tribe, ride baby giant spiders that later become their guardians and protectors. Since their spider companions keep dying, they would later learn necromancy and are believed to be the original source of it. Some pixies even mastered rebirth and bring back a completely squished spider to life. Many pixies prefer using their companions as undead minions, and this is mostly because undead spiders are much scarier than real spiders. Their mischief caught the attention of harpies, and while at first their relationship seemed rocky, it became a very scary relationship. The pixies will often go on raids in towns and scare humans out of the town for harpies to scoop up and have their own fun with. And if you want to see what that fun is, you can check out the previous episode. When harpies were done with their human, they would often throw them down to the ground for pixies to try their new necromancy spells for their ever-increasing undead army. Nobody knows the real reason why the pixies have been building an undead army, but some think it's to fight the dragonborns, for they do not fear the pixies and their spiders. Which checks off all the boxes. They like the undead because they cause necromancy and are probably somehow the source of them being back alive. They don't like the Dragonborn because they are stoic creatures that do not fear the giant spiders that they ride. So Xeno, point 609, I do hope that you got what you wanted. And I do apologize for this taking 2 months since you saw where you finally get added. But you're now in the new files. But like I promised, we're going to be doing 2. So we have Xeno right here. And I'm going to pick a random commenter for a new one. Alright, I did find another person, and they are JEPompom455. Hello, and congratulations, you have your own creature part of the new files now. What that creature is, well, let's spin the wheel to find out. You are going to be a human. Humans. Very diverse creatures, lots to go on here. And already have a bit of lore with the harpies and the pixies causing mischief to them. So let's see who the humans like. Well, isn't that interesting? The humans have a good relationship with vampires. And let's see who they dislike. They dislike humanoid animals. Alrighty. Well, isn't this interesting? Very interesting indeed. Well, I will be back, and we will see how this plays out. Hello everyone, and welcome to a very quick Q&A section. I will be doing a Q&A every time I do a new files video or a video of this sort. So if you ever have questions for me about my channel, where I'm going with my bugs, or just things in general, it doesn't even have to be related to this channel. You could be asking me about how to do your math homework. I will look at this and I will try answering as many of these questions as I can during these little Q&A sections that you can see my work. But since no one knew that this was going to be a Q&A section, I'm going to just address something that I feel like should be addressed. I feel like it's important that I talk about this. In one of my videos, the superpowers video, which most of you probably watch because it's my biggest video on the channel by a long shot. It's titled Don't Take These Superpowers, and if you haven't watched it, it's going to be linked in the top left corner, right corner. I know directions. It's going to be linked there, and you can check it out right after this video if you want. But in that video, I talked about how superpowers suck, super speed, super strength, and all that other things just aren't that good. Many people ended up watching the video, which is part of the reason why I'm talking about it. But a lot of these comments were saying how I'm uncreative, how I'm just lacking imagination, how super strength is very useful, and what's the point of going to work when I can lift a car? Well, yes, all of these are valid reasons. I was being a little generic with what I was saying. I was also being realistic. Realistically, yeah, I can lift an entire building, but why would I do that? I have no reason to lift my entire house off the ground. The best use I'm going to use super strength for is to lifting up a car. I'm thinking everyday use. Well, yes, a lot of these comments are like, I can help fix the world. It was like, oh no, an earthquake is happening. I can go there and use my super strength to get rid of the rubble. You're forgetting a lot of the problems leading up to that point. How are you going to get to that earthquake? Earthquakes don't happen every single day. And even if you do get there, are you really willing to put your life on the line for a bunch of random people? Well, yes, I know a lot of people are very good-hearted, myself included. Realistically, I don't feel like super strength is going to be all that useful in comparison to a bunch of other superpowers later in the video. Let's take a quick break from my rant and go back to the original video now. Alrighty, I think we're back now. I'm not 100% sure because this is a really tricky situation, because as far as I know from movies, shows, and other things I've seen, humans and vampires do not get along very well, and currently the biggest source of like vampires and their origins and whatnot, that I've going through my head right now is Vampires in the Garden. Yeah, this show. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's pretty good. It's only 4 episodes, I believe. Oh, it's 5 episodes. So it's very quick watch. Each episode's like 20 minutes long. It's really good. Definitely go recommend watching it. But humans and vampires don't often get along very well. So this caused some issues when writing the lore for humans, and I think I ended up writing more lore for vampires instead by accident. But as you can see, there is a lot of bullet points here, mostly because it was really hard to figure out how things should work. So people aren't sure where humans came, if humans came from a magical creature or a magical creature came from humans. And an entire town was infected by this vampirism that ended up getting secluded and grew as outcasts went in and didn't become vampires, or many vampires felt as if the outcast were outcasted. They just felt outcasted and secluded from the world, and this grew into a mutual hate towards humans as a whole, which started the human and vampire war, which ended up in a truce. So humans and vampires could join together to fight off humanoid animals. And humanoid animals, humans hate those because they believe it is just a bunch of normal, wild, savage animals trying to appear human, and they don't like the thought of that, for it feels disgraceful towards the human race, and humans just don't like that. So a new war sparked of human and vampires versus humanoid animals. And as this war began, humans fought alongside the vampires, which made them realize that humans and vampires aren't that different, I guess. And they eventually evolved into a very mutual, civilization. Vampires can be seen in many human towns, and humans and vampires are often seen just together and they're just living alongside each other. Am I happy with this? Not at all. I rolled really bad, because humans are very basic and they're very difficult to make interesting magic lore for, especially considering the fact that human and vampires don't often get along very well. Even in my Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, which is only like an hour long, I still met a vampire character, and I still did not get along with them very well, because for the sole reason that they're a vampire. And I only knew the dude was a vampire for like 5 minutes. So, yeah, it was very difficult to make this. But let's actually write the paragraph now. Alright, back to my rant. Another thing I want to address is that, and you'll be able to see this on screen right now, the audience attention span. I can see how long you people watch my videos, and I've never agreed with something more until I saw this. The average watch time for my video was 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, give or take. I want to point out, in that 2 minutes 30 second mark, I'm explaining really popular superpowers and saying why they are bad. If you go and watch the video to its fullest extent, you will see I talk about X-ray vision, bodily chemical manipulation, probability manipulation. These powers are so much better than basic flight. Well, yes, flight is useful. I can fly around the world as fast as the jet. And let's say, and another thing I quickly want to jump on is that people kept saying that flight and super speed have never been its own separate thing. Superman always had the ability to fly at super speed, and no one talks about how they're completely different powers. He has flight and super speed, not just flight. So a lot of people also called me out on that, and yes, will say, sure, you have flight and super speed, so you can fly as fast as a jet. Good on you. Even then, let's say your body can handle all the force and all the other extra details about flying, right? Once you're at the location, there's not much else you can do. Sure, you can help get rid of rubble at an earthquake, but there's not much else that you can do to help the situation. You're just going to be another person. You can just get there without having to pay for your flight. If you watch the rest of my video up to like the 4, 5, 6 minute mark, you will see that I have other powers that are much more useful, such as telekinesis. That power has a lot more practical use in everyday life, and if you want to help and fix the world, you can also do that with telekinesis. So, my message at the end of this, please watch a video all the way through before leaving a comment. The first minute of a video might be really bad, while the last hour of the video is going to be the best video you ever seen. Don't judge a book by its cover, it's a very true thing, and I want to make this very clear. Watch a video all the way to the end, because I talk about really cool powers that you probably haven't heard of because no one ever talks about these powers. Storm from the X-Men is a really good example of a very unique power. She has the ability to control any sort of weather, and this is a really interesting power that has a lot of uses, but no one really talks about it, and you always get the very generic super strength, super speed, telekinesis, mind control, stuff like that, and you don't get these very unique powers such as Storm. I talk about some very unique powers later down the line. While yes, they aren't super unique and very original, they are well known and not seen that much. I would love to see some powers that I talk about later in the video more often. So, that's my little rant. But once again, this is a Q&A section. If you have questions, comments, or concerns about your homework, my channel, or whatever else you have in your little head of yours, please leave a comment down below and I'll answer them during this section. Now with my rant out of the way, let's actually get back to the new files and see what I wrote up for human lore. Once again, I do believe we are back. I say believe because, once again, I'm not entirely happy with this because the roles were really bad. But, what can you do? So, once again, we have a small paragraph of the lore of humans. And it's very difficult to write this, but it is here now. So let's go over it. Nobody really knows if it was humans first and magical creatures evolved from them, or humans are the runs of some magical creature. Regardless of their strange origin, they quickly became the first race to have a mass vampiric outburst. An entire town was overtaken by vampires and was quickly secluded. They only saw new people when they were outcasted and sentenced to death. Due to the lack of human food, the vampires in that town found a new source of food in animal blood, and many evolved into not needing more than 15 to 20 ounces of blood a day. The town grew, and when they fought back against the humans causing the human and vampire war, humans realized that vampires are just humans that need some extra care. The war was quick-lived, for a truce was made. Many humans disliked the humanoid animals that lived near their towns and cities, for they appear to be human and act in such a way, but they are animals. As they fought alongside vampires, they would often forget that they were different. This evolved into humans using a certain part of the vampiric disease to make us super soldiers that would later go rogue. Humans and vampires do now live in harmony, with their differences being small and barely noticeable. This was the best I could do with the roles that I got. If you want your own new files section, then leave a positive comment and you might get selected. If you haven't seen the other videos in this series, then don't worry, the playlist is on your left. And if you want to watch a different video on my channel, then you can check out the one on the right. If you don't like what you see, then always check out the channel in the middle. and videos are every Saturday. Next week, I'll be trying to write a story as fast as I can. I'll see you there.